Hello and welcome to Conway's Kitchen. It's a finger lick and it's an easy way to cook.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Conway's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making some curry. Curry is one of my personal favorites. Love to make it, and I used to never make it because I was really afraid to make it. It seemed really hard, seemed really involved, a lot of processes, a lot of steps, a lot of weird ingredients that I didn't have access to. But today we're going to be making a curry that's pretty easy, pretty accessible to most people, using a lot of ingredients that you can find at any store, also ingredients that you probably have laying around your house as well for the most part. Curry is one of those fun dishes that you can kind of mix and match and change however you want. You know, it's sort of like once you have the sauce, you can kind of just put whatever you want inside the sauce. So today we're going to be using some tofu, some carrots, and some red pepper that we're going to roast down. Then we're going to make the curry sauce. Put all that together, throw it over the rice, boom, curry. Let's go check it out. Alright, so this is it. This is everything you need to make curry. It's good to start off cooking by getting everything in order. Getting all your ingredients out, getting all your cookware out, just getting everything in place. Because you don't want to be cooking and realize that you have to go find something in the back of the fridge or you have to clean some pan called mise en place. You want to get everything in its place, get everything ready so you can just dive in and start doing it. Now that everything is here, ready, waiting for us to cook, let's do it. Let's start turning some heat on. Let's figure this thing out, right? So what I want to do with this pepper, I want to take it and I want to roast it. I love roasted peppers. They make them all sweet. The texture gets really soft. They taste like little candies. I love it. Portion-wise, a pepper, I usually like to break it into thirds. I'm cooking for 2 tonight. Probably take about 2/3 out of this thing and roast it up. But can't roast it without the oven being on. So, boom, turn the oven on. I like to roast my veggies around 375. So oven's on. Oven is heating up. The next thing I want to do is get the rice ready and probably start heating up this pan as well. You don't want the oil to be cooking off too long because then it'll start to burn, but you can just start off by we're using tofu. Tofu uses a lot of, or it soaks up oil and stuff very well, so you can put a pretty liberal amount in your pan there. Turn it on to about medium heat. Kind of depends on if you want your tofu to be a little crisper. Rice, I always like to have rice left over, so I usually just cook more than I'm actually going to use, and then I have some leftovers, and then I use that to make quick, easy dishes from there. I have found that for one serving, about 1/4 cup of rice is sort of around the quantity that I'm eating, and again, this will kind of be different for you, how many people you're cooking for, who you're cooking for. You might have people that eat a lot, you might have people that eat a little. I know some people don't really like leftovers, so that can kind of be a thought with how much you're making. So I'm going to basically just measure out 1 cup of rice, and I'm going to strain it, or not strain it, I'm going to rinse it. And rice is something that I never owned a strainer until very recently. I used to just kind of not strain my stuff ever. People say you should get some dirt off and just kind of cleans it. I've eaten rice that hasn't been cleaned before and I didn't die. So if you don't have a strainer, it's fine. You're gonna live. Rinse and rice, strain it a little bit. Boom. Now it's so clean that you can just put it on the ground and eat it. Boom. Cup of rice. So with rice and with a lot of grains, usually about a 2-to-1 ratio of water to grain. So if I put in 1 cup of rice there, 2 cups of water. And these are not liquid measuring cups. So not everything here is going to be done to the proper professional fashion. And that is why I'm doing it. Because not all of us have access to things that are proper and professional. The recipe or ingredients or how to cook on this bag said you could add some salt. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt to the rice. Helps make things yummy before I even turn it on. So Got rice in there. Boom. Gonna put it onto high heat. You're gonna want to let it boil for just a second. Basically, once it starts getting to that boil, then you turn the heat to low and you let it simmer for about 20 minutes. Oil's heating up here. This is gonna be our saucepan that we're gonna make the curry in the saucepan. So we're just gonna leave it here for now. The next thing I wanna do is two things. I wanna get this stuff ready and I wanna get this pepper ready. So I got a pepper here, gotta rinse it off. Cutting a pepper into thirds. A lot of different ways to go about cutting a pepper. You could do it so many different ways, but we're just going to start here. That cuts off about a third. This is kind of about 2/3. And there's all the seeds and good stuff inside that we don't actually want to eat. So take that there. I got a little compost in here. Compost, good for the environment, good for the planet, good for your soul. You know, getting those, getting the nutrients, getting the chemicals back into the soil. So it's not just a one-way street. So, got it here. Cut out the stem, cut out the inside. Not really a lot of seeds in there. And from there, I want to cut it in half because I want to put them face down on the cutting sheet. So, got our slab of tofu here. This came in water in a package and it had a little bit more to it. So this is about 2/3 of a thing of tofu. It looks a little small because it's firm tofu. So it doesn't have much water in it. A lot of times with tofu, you want to take paper towels here and you want to wrap your tofu up and you can like put a book on it, you can just kind of use your hands, but you kind of want to just like squeeze out all the moisture. Again, this is firm already, so it doesn't really have a lot of excess moisture in there, but getting that excess moisture out will make your tofu taste a lot better and it'll cook a lot easier for you. So just want to squeeze it out a little bit, compost, boom. And a lot of different ways you can do with tofu. You can take it and you can just break it up into little crumbles. Today we're going to put it in cubes, so we're just going to cut up some big cubes here. That is about the thickness we want, so we're just going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, boom. Tofu in cubes, excess red pepper, Tupperwares. Alright, so next thing we want to do, carrots. We want to shave the carrots. People debate about carrots and whether you should shave them or not, or how you should shave them, because people will be like, oh, the carrots have a lot of their nutrients and vitamins in the skin. And then other people will be like, oh, but the skin is where all the toxins are. So, you know, maybe depending on how organic your carrots are, you may choose to leave the skin on, or depending on the type of knife you have, because some people will use a paring knife to try and scrape off the skin but not peel it, because when you peel it you get too much of the skin off. I don't know. We're just going to assume peeled carrots are the way to go, right? It's probably what we are all most familiar with. So just going to peel them here, just kind of fluid motions from about the middle of it outwards, and get all the little skin parts off. You can leave the ends for now, because we will cut them. So yeah, about halfway, and just kind of back to front, you know, the opposite of wiping. Which, if you didn't know, you should wipe your asshole front to back. I can say asshole because I assume children are not watching this. Okay, I'm gonna put this out of the way for now. So, tricking in, boop, turn that there. Starting to see the rice, you're starting to see the condensation at the top, and you're starting to see the rice boil a little bit in there. Alright, so rice is boiling. Gonna turn it down to about 2 there on the Richter scale. and then gonna let it simmer basically until the water is gone. So we're gonna be checking on it, we're gonna be stirring it around a couple times, but for the most part, that's it for rice. Oven cycle is off, which means the oven's ready. This is starting to heat up, so we kind of got a time crunch here, but basically with the red peppers, a decent amount of oil, nothing too crazy. You never really want to overdo it. Roasting veggies they don't absorb too much oil. A little bit of salt and pepper in the inside. Again, nothing too crazy. You can always add, but you can't really subtract very well. So a little bit of salt and pepper in there, a little bit of oil in there, and basically I'm just going to rub it all the way around just so it covers the entire surface of it and spreads it out all evenly. So you got a nice little pepper rub right there, some salt and pepper. We want those baddies face down. Boom. Nice. Salt and peppery. Ready for the oven here. Oven. Boom. Alright, so this is almost hot. Actually, it is hot, and you can test that by getting a little bit of water on your finger and doing that, and you see, boom, oil pops up like that, which means it's hot. But we don't have our carrots cut. So, I want to cut the knotty ends off the carrots. The little gross butts here. Compost, boom, nectar of life. And then it's like, how do you want to cook carrots? I don't know. How do you like your carrots in your curry? Do you want big chunks? Do you want small chunks? I kind of like kind of medium. I think I'm just going to keep them as little discs. I think that's how we're going to play it today. But the fun thing about cooking is you can always just do it different the next time. So keep it easy. Make sure you're watching your fingers when you cut. Little discs here. This is a very small cutting board, so it can sort of be some self-imposed danger sometimes. But alright, we got some chunks here. Looking pretty good, looking pretty even. So, I'm gonna add them to the pot here. Hot oil. With the carrots, we're gonna move them around. So we get the tofu in here. I don't want the tofu sticking together, so separate the tofu here, and what we're going to do, a little bit of salt here, just kind of cover everything a little bit, nothing too crazy, and a little bit of pepper, again, kind of cover everything, nothing too crazy. And what I found recently, one of the biggest things that has helped me in my cooking is using a lid to trap the moisture, trap some of the flavors. The lid that I have to use to fit this is actually here. I don't have two lids that fit the same fucking thing. So basically, we're just going to use a bigger lid, and it doesn't fully fit on it, but you see it's starting to trap the steam already. It works good enough, right? Where are we at here, right? So it's like we have the insides of the curry cooking, and we have our rice cooking, and we kind of just give this a little stir, just make sure there's no big clumps in there. But now, we can make the sauce, which with curry, is probably the most important part. With the curry sauce, we're going to put everything in this bowl here. We're going to leave the coconut milk off to the side, but everything else here we're going to be using. We have a lime, we have some fresh ginger, garlic, a little bit of soy sauce, some sambal. This stuff's really good for basically any sort of quote-unquote Asian-y food that you're looking to make. It's a good thing to have around. You can probably find it in basically any grocery store that has a ethnic food and Asian food and aisle. Just anything along those lines. You can probably find this sauce. It's spicy as all hell, but it brings out a lot of flavor. And at some point in this channel, we'll be talking about how to cook with spice without making things extra spicy. But if you can use them in your cooking to not make things spicy, but makes things flavorful and add a little bit of heat to it. So we'll go into that. Got some tomato paste here, which is one of those things that's probably not the most authentic ingredient in curry. No portions or quantities. We're just going to kind of eyeball it, right? Curry, okay. So the thing about curry is I'm going to use this whole can of coconut milk, which is kind of a lot. But coconut milk will soak up a lot of the flavors. In other words, coconut milk is a thirsty. It's looking to take your spices and consume all of them. And even then, it probably won't be too much. So really, with curries, you can flavor it up as much as you like. So it's kind of hard to go overboard, which is what I thought. I made curry the other week, and I definitely was like, oh, I put too much in there. Turns out, no, the right amount. Peanut butter, fun. I like it. It's, again, one of those ingredients, probably not the most traditional, but I like me some peanut curry, and this kind of always brings out some peanutty notes, so I really like that a lot. So probably just going to start off with a good, probably about a scoop and a half here. Probably start somewhere in there. All right, and then we take our Sambal Sauce here. Nothing crazy. This is not a very big bowl here. You can see this is not a very big amount of Sambal Sauce. It's spicy, but it goes a long way. I have an open thing of curry paste here. This is what my local Kroger store serves, but you can probably find some sort of like concentrated curry paste, again, in your Asian ethnic food section. It says about 23 servings in this thing, and one serving is 1 teaspoon. I basically triple that number. I found that with the way that I'm cooking it down, again, with coconut milk being the way it is, you can kind of just keep adding a lot more. So we're going to use almost half this jar here. Or the other half of this jar. We're going to use the rest of this jar, which was about half full. So this is probably, according to this jar, about, I don't know, 8 to 9 servings, probably. Which again is just, it's not going to come out that way, and it'll be fine. So we got our curry paste, peanut butter, and the Sambal Sauce so far. So what else do we need? We need some lime. So let's rinse off the lime. Lime and citrus is fun. It helps sort of brighten things up a bit. But as we're doing this, we don't want the tofu and carrots to burn. So we're going to kind of shift focus real fast. And again, this is sort of the fun elements of cooking, is sort of the balance between it all. So we just kind of want to shift it around. You can see that's starting to brown. So you don't want things to burn, but browning is okay. Turn them around a little bit. Get the liquid back in there. Boom. Those are going to keep cooking. Peppers, we're good. It's one of those things you're just going to have to cook a handful of times before you find out how long to cook peppers. Same thing, just coming over here just to give the rice a little stir here. If you have a rice cooker, it makes things super easy. Just kind of put it in, put all the stuff in, press the button, and it's done. With this here, give it a stir or two throughout, and that'll set you on your way. So lime, I like a lot of lime. Again, we're kind of just eyeballing this thing. I will probably use almost half of it. It's probably something like that. I don't know exactly how much lime juice this really comes out to be, but a good amount of lime juice. This is maybe too much, but I like lime juice. And again, coconut milk is just gonna drink all of this seasoning and stuff up. So, lime juice there. I have a cut on my finger, which really hurts now. It's lime juice. Right. So, we got a couple more things to add here. Soy sauce. We're just gonna do a good amount of it. You know, nothing too crazy. Because it's with this type of dish, you use the soy sauce sort of complementary. It's not going to be the main component of everything. Fresh ginger here, you could use ground ginger as well. Fresh ginger, like many other things, just tends to taste a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder, a little bit better. This is kind of a lot of ginger, so probably doing about good little nub there. Nice little thumb of ginger, right? Ginger is a pain. I don't know, there's probably a better way to do this, but this is how I deal with ginger. So I want to get the skin off, so I just use the peeler and try and get some of the skin off. Ginger has a lot of like little nooks and crannies in it, so it doesn't work for the full thing, but it kind of at least starts the process there and saves you some time. because cooking is all about timing, and in the end of the day, I want to make meals that people can cook themselves in a reasonable amount of time, because a lot of what you see on the television, all these shows that I love watching, is these meals that take hours and hours and hours to cook, and they involve all these things that I do not own. So ginger going back there, garlic, we're gonna mince it up, cut it up real small, not a ton of garlic, just to kind of bring out some of it. A lot of the times you'll see this Sambal Sauce, this ground chili paste. A lot of the times you'll see like a garlic chili paste as well. So if you buy the garlic chili version, you might not want to add much garlic. But I love me some garlic, so we're going to add a couple cloves. We're just going to mince it up. So a couple cloves of garlic broken off. Basically what you want to do to get to the garlic, take your knife, turn it sideways, and you're just going to kind of press it. Boom. And boom. You can hear it crunch. And then you see the skin just kind of falls off. So then from there, you just kind of take the remaining skin off here. Makes it pretty easy for the most part. That's that. This one's got a little eyeball on it, little mark that we'll probably just have to cut out. Alright. Okay. Garlic, ginger. Just going to cut them up real small and throw them in here. These are the ingredients that if you were making curry a bit more professionally or differently, you'd probably put these separate from your sauce. But for the sake of simplifying, for the sake of making things accessible, we are just going to put it all together, because I really don't taste much of a difference. So I'm just kind of cutting some of the nasty bits off of the ginger, off of the garlic, just to kind of make sure it's all ready. So I'm just going to kind of mince it down, and we can talk about knife skills and stuff later, but basically, if you're new to using a knife, new to kitchen work, you want to be fast but safe, right? You never want to get to a place where you're just like cutting yourself every night, but also you don't want to have it so it takes you 20-30 minutes just to cut some ginger or garlic. So just kind of cut it down like that. Nothing too crazy. Fresh garlic is pretty sturdy, and it can be kind of hard to mince down sometimes because it just takes a lot of chopping. So we're just going to kind of leave it a little loose because, again, this is not a professional kitchen. So we're just doing it how we want to do it. What looks good to us. Let's check in with our tofu and carrots, though, because we got that going on. And even though it's only been a few minutes, it might need another little turn. So, get in there. Yes, nice and brown. Alright, so we got that. Kind of finagle it. You can use some tongs, potentially. I like using tongs with tofu because you're able to just pinch them, grab them. But basically, I'm just trying to get the sides that haven't been browned to cook down. This is fun. Okay, there we go. There we go. Alright. One more piece that needs to be flipped. And so these are getting pretty close, actually. And the fun thing about curry is that once these are done, I don't necessarily have to like keep it super hot. So once they're done cooking, I'll just turn this off and we'll throw it into the curry later, and that'll heat it up again. The other thing we're going to do is check on the peppers, because I actually don't know how much time it's been, but it's good to keep checking on them. You don't want to open your oven too many times, but looks fine on the top, but when you flip them over, kind of brown, or kind of starting to burn a little bit, which is fine. I like the char flavor, but that means it's probably good to turn them over. And you see the insides are looking nice and soft. They're looking very moist in there, which means they are probably pretty dang close, because the underside, the skin side, isn't going to take hardly much time. So I'm going to flip those over, and I'm going to turn it off entirely pretty soon here. Back to the cutting. Thank you, Annabelle. Back to the cutting. I'm going to be cutting up garlic, mincing it up. Again, that combination of trying to go fast without cutting yourself. I know some of you are probably looking at my right hand being so close and starting to tense up because you're afraid I'm going to cut myself. And there are much more proper and appropriate methods on how to cut your foods. But again, I am not a professional chef. This is not a professional kitchen. I am trying to tell the average everyday person how they can make food for themselves. Because making your own food is a very empowering step that you can take to control elements of your life, including your health, the foods that go into your body, and how you spend your money. Because if you don't want to support big corporations that only care about making money off of you, then you can buy whole foods, whole ingredients, and start taking power back over that. So, we are almost there with this sauce here. We got 3 more ingredients. Turmeric, which is not really a popular curry item, I don't think. But I love turmeric, and it's good for you. It apparently has a lot of anti-cancer properties, as well as many other, it's kind of one of those buzzwords, hashtag superfoods kind of thing. So I like turmeric a lot, makes things orange. So if you use turmeric in your food's gonna be orange. But we're making curry, it's a red curry, orange and red, it's all good, right? It doesn't have a super strong flavor, and it cooks down pretty easily, pretty well. So I'm gonna use a good amount, just shake, 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 shake. Nothing too crazy. This is curry powder. Just adding more curry, Again, coconut milk loves the spices. So bring them, right? So, curry powder, boom, boom, boom. All right, tomato paste. Boom, tomato paste. This is from a couple days ago. Let's see, how much tomato paste? Good question. I don't really know. You kind of experiment and go from there. Tomato paste is concentrated, so it's very strong. So this is like a good amount of tomato paste. So we are just gonna plop that in there. So this looks weird, right? Before we stir it up and try it, we gotta check back in on these. These are looking pretty toasty, pretty good. I'm pretty excited about it. And again, all this was cooked down with is the salt and the pepper. Because with the way I'm making curry, I'm just gonna turn it off. The way I'm making curry, this is all the flavor here. All right, so we got all this stuff, and we just gonna stir it up, baby. I'm left-handed, so I'm getting in the way, I'm sorry. The thing about this is, it looks weird, but it tastes good. And I think that's kind of home cooking in a nutshell, right? Looks weird, tastes good. I don't know, kind of my motto. Alright, so you can taste it. It's gonna be intense, right? Because it's got all that curry paste and all the seasonings. You got the lime, you got the soy sauce. It's gonna be kind of funky in a way. But once you put it on the stovetop, yeah, tastes like curry. It's funky. It feels like the flavors feel a little bit disparate and not really connected and cohesive. But that is why we're gonna heat this up. So basically, that pepper, turn it off. It's fine. We flipped it a couple minutes ago. The oven is gonna stay hot. And again, you don't want that pepper super charred. You want it to have a little bit of structure still. What we're looking at here is rice that is basically done. Give it a little shake. Kind of let you know where the rice is at. Shake, shake, shake. Still a little bit of moisture in there, still moving around a little bit, but in the end of the day, that is going to be fine, especially if I just kind of turn the heat off and let it sit here like that. That moisture will be soaked up into the rice. It's just a very small amount, residual, but rice can burn easily, so it's kind of this balance between getting all the moisture out, but not taking all the moisture out, because then it'll start burning, and then it'll get all cakey, especially with something like a white rice. And there can be a whole nother video where we talk about the benefits of white versus brown rice and the health and the cooking and all that stuff. I went with white rice today because of a timing issue. It doesn't take very long. Brown rice can take about 45 minutes. White rice is a lot shorter, so I started with the white rice. Okay, we are going to start cooking down the sauce. So, we have ourselves a saucepan. Gonna put a little bit of oil in there, nothing crazy, just so the this sauce that we made doesn't burn. So basically what I want to do is turn this probably close to medium heat. We're gonna cook down this sauce for about a minute, Yeah, probably about a minute, somewhere around there. You kind of just want to toast it up. So then once it's toasted, you'll kind of start to smell the seasoning, just smell the ginger, smell the garlic, that'll start coming out. And then you just hit it with the coconut milk, and honestly, y'all, we're like 99% of the way there. As this is heating, I am going to open my coconut milk. Might want to shake it up because I have opened coconut milk before that had like a thick layer and then it was just all liquidy and it was weird, so give it a shake. You hear it, it's good. Alright, cool. Use your janky can opener, because who's really going to spend $25 on a nice can opener? It's all about those janky $3-4 ones, or maybe even the $1 one. You know, you go to the dollar store, you get that can opener, boom, it works for like 6 cans, maybe 7 if you're lucky. Alright, so there's that, done with can opener, boom, put it away, boom, look at that coconut milk, amazing, ready to go. Pro tip, clean as you go. Save yourself a bunch of time. So that's what we're gonna do. We start putting stuff away. Put this away. Put you away. I don't need you anymore. I don't need you anymore. Alright. Put this away. Because like I said, we are basically there. I'm going to take the peppers out of the oven because I have ADD and this is how I cook. And we're going to cut those up in a sec. And then we're going to put them with the tofu and carrots. And then this is going to cook. And then boom, we're just going to throw it all together and curry. So pan, you're going to check if it's hot. Get a little water on your finger. A little water there. Boom, sizzle, crack, pop. Alright. So we have a fork. But what we also have is this thing is called... I think it's called a spatula. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But it's very good for sauces because you can get all the stuff out. It's just a very smooth. You see, it's almost like clean. Not really, but like there's not really a whole lot of residual sauce left, and I don't have to sit here with a fork and just scrape at this thing to try and get every last little thing of sauce. So the sauce is hitting the pan here. We're going to definitely want to stir it around because we're trying to toast it, but we're not trying to burn it. And honestly, hearing it now, I'm kind of cooking this at probably a bit of a higher heat than I really should be. But as I stir it around a little bit, it kind of calms down. The whole sound of it all is a bit calmer. So basically, I'm going to cook this down for just a little bit here. And then we're going to hit it with some coconut milk. Before we do that though, we gotta get these peppers cut. So, got them peppers here. And just gonna make some strips out of them. Pepper strips. Pepper strips. Alright. You can do it however you want. You could dice them up a bunch, but it's curry. I think curry kind of lends its hand to bigger chunks of food. So, bigger chunks of tofu, bigger chunks of carrots, bigger chunks of peppers. I'm into it. Alright. Do a little taste, because you can definitely taste these. You should be tasting food as you go. I oftentimes don't, but again, that's why I'm not a professional. So, hot. Let's go. It's a little underdone, maybe? Would you agree?
Slightly underdone,
yeah,
but delicious.
Thank you, Annabeth. I don't know, but curry hides a lot of mistakes, so it will be fine. It's got a nice candy flavor to it. Got that stirred up. So, what we're looking at here, it's kind of a messy countertop, so we're going to start cleaning some stuff up because we're getting pretty close to the end. Alright, this doesn't really need a lid anymore. It can go in the sink. These red peppers can go in here because it's all just going to be combined later, so it doesn't quite matter so much. This we want to keep stirring. Probably good. Starting to smell it a lot. Starting to see the color change a little bit. You can kind of see it's getting a bit more orangey in parts, which is sort of on its way to brown, which is sort of on its way to burning, right? So we don't want it to do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in like a quarter of the coconut milk. I don't really know why I do this, but this is how I do it. I do about a quarter, and then I stir it all up. And then I will heat that up a little bit, and then I'll put all the rest in. Bring it to the boil, let it simmer for a little bit after turning down the heat, throw in the rest of your ingredients, and boom, curry is done. Alright. Yum, 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 yum. If you've made it this far, thank you. Because you're probably wondering what the fuck you're doing. I oftentimes ask myself that same thing, but that is why I like cooking food. It is a fun way to get to know yourself, get to know your food, your environment, where food comes from, because food does not come from the grocery store. Alright, so, boom, orange, curryish looking thing. We got innards over here just waiting to be put in the curry. Next, we are going to look at plating some things. Plating, 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 plating. Okay, bowl, fill with rice. See, there was a little bit of residual moisture. You might still be able to kind of see that on the edges, but it's really not a big deal. Because curry is a moist thing. Isn't that fun? If you have residual water in your rice, you can just put curry in it and you no longer see the water. But also, if you stir it up like this, a lot of that moisture gets dispersed, distributed around. So now we have nice dry rice. So, gonna plate it here. Just put some rice down here. Alright, how much is up to you, and yes. This was a full cup. I said about quarter of a cup. So I think that's about half of it. You can always add more, but also don't want to add too much. Because you want to keep the rice separate. Basically, if you have leftovers, you don't want the rice to be in the curry, because then it's going to soak up all of the liquid in the curry, and then you're going to get weird texture of rice. So if you can, keep the rice separate from everything else you cook. Whether it's curry, whether it's, Mexican rice and beans, like whatever the hell it is, just like keep your curry separate. So there's that. We're going to add the rest of the coconut milk here, because it's starting to heat up. And basically what we want to do is bring this to a boil, have it simmer for a little bit, maybe 5-10 minutes, bring out some of the flavors. You could realistically leave it there 20-30 minutes if you really wanted to. I don't entirely know what sort of benefits or detriments that might lead to, but say you weren't ready to eat, or someone called up and was like, hey, it's going to be another 15 minutes. You can kind of put this whole meal on hold here, because the rice will be reheated by everything else happening with the curry. You can also reheat rice and just like a little bit of moisture, but this can just sit here and this can just simmer for however long you need. So rest of the coconut milk is in there, stir it around. This curry is already getting much thinner. It's starting to be a lot more white than the sort of vibrant brown, reddish brown, orange brown that we saw earlier. What we can also do, just to kind of make sure we're on track, is to give it a little taste test. Tastes like curry. So we're sitting here. I'm going to turn this heat up a little bit just so it goes up to a boil, and then we're going to bring it down to simmer. Rice is plated and waiting, and the innards for the curry are waiting. So what do you do now? Well, probably start cleaning some stuff up, right? Because there's going to be a lot of downtime in cooking, and no one likes to do 1,000 dishes after they're done. And also, cooking is already a fairly time-consuming activity. So ways to cut down on the amount of time your cooking consumes is to clean as you go and to put things away as you go. Okay, so we are starting to see we're starting to see these bubbles. Means it's boiling. Want to give it a little churn, and we're gonna go low heat here. We're gonna let it simmer. Honestly, can probably put in a little bit of water. Probably should have done that earlier. Oops. Should have put in water earlier before it was boiling. But basically, as you simmer things, as you cook it down the boiling, this is all water coming out, right? So basically, if you simmer it too long, you cook it down too long, you're going to lose all of the water. You're going to lose all of the liquid. And so you can sort of offset that by adding water and then basically cooking it off. And when you do that, you'll incorporate more of the flavors into your food. So I kind of made a little mistake, and I should have probably added water earlier. But that's how cooking goes. You're gonna make mistakes. A little food porn, yeah, just stir that curry. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, I'm gonna stir it all night, baby. Stir it up. Oh, darling, stir it up. Alright, now that we have had the curry simmering for a few minutes, we are gonna add all the innards, all that tofu, carrots and red peppers that we cooked down earlier. We're going to put that in the curry, and then we're going to let it sit together for a couple more minutes just so they can have a chance to, introduce themselves. Hey, sauce, this is tofu. Carrots, this is sauce. Let's make some babies, right? Yep. Food babies. Alright, so we got the innards in there. Just gonna kind of stir it around, stir it up. Alright, and yeah, you see the chunks. They're kind of just floating around in there. And we're gonna let those heat up together for a minute or so, just to kind of get those flavors to kiss. And then we're basically just gonna pour the curry on top of that rice, and boom, you have curry. So the curry is basically almost done. I will try and add like a little cost breakdown as to roughly what this costs. Because a goal that I've had in my own cooking, and I think part of the power of cooking for yourself, is you save a bunch of money. It doesn't always seem like it because, sometimes you buy one little thing of sauce and it costs $6 and you're like, what? But then you use that sauce 15 times, right? So it's there are certain cost-saving measures there, and so I'll try and give you a breakdown as to roughly what this curry costs to make per serving, per person. And that's kind of a big goal of this channel and moving forward, is to cook meals week after week that are just good home cooking. Again, this isn't professional. It's not going to be anything that's super amazing, but I just used a couple pots, a skillet, and an oven, and I'm trying to use things that most people have around, things that are generally accessible to most people, ingredients that are generally accessible, and cook different meals week after week. And I know for me, cooking for myself, and I'm vegetarian, and I'll talk about the vegetarian thing in a different video, but cooking meals for myself week after week, I found that I wanted to add variety and start doing things a little bit more experimental with my cooking. But for the first couple years, I found that I sort of was plateaued with my skills and my knowledge in terms of what I was able to do and what I felt comfortable trying to achieve. And so I want to cook these meals that I used to think were pretty daunting until I sort of actually did it and I realized, they're actually pretty simple. Most of the meals on this channel you'll be able to cook them in an hour. If you have an hour of free time, you'll be able to cook a meal for anywhere from 1 to 4 people, potentially 6 people if you really want to, up your portion sizes, or not your portion sizes. Proportions. Up your proportions. There we go. Thank you, Annabeth, for the words. The vocabulary that I do not have. But yeah, I just want to show people that they too can make meals that are going to be healthy. They're going to be cheap. They're going to be pretty dang easy. Clean up and dishes can kind of be a pain in the ass. No lie there. It is kind of a pain in the ass, but it's healthier. It's cheaper than eating out, and it's a good life skill. What?
Safer. Corona.
And it's safer, because coronavirus. I totally forgot about coronavirus. How could you forget about coronavirus, right? But In America, it seems like a lot of us forgot that coronavirus exists. But anyway, it is safer because it's a lot less contact with others. And it's just really empowering. And these are the types of things that I hope to explore and talk about more on this channel moving forward. So if you got this far, thank you. Appreciate it. And it'll just get better as time goes on and as I figure out how to do this and Annabeth figures out how to use the camera, because this is our first time doing this. So thank you so much. We're about to plate this stuff and show you some good curry. Yeah, cheap, easy, accessible. That's what we're doing here. Alright, curry is done. Ready to plate. So we got rice here. Turn the heat off of the curry. Got a little sauce spoon here. And this is kind of a lot of curry. It might be too much. I might have leftovers. So we're going to pull a little audible. I don't have like an official ladle to like scoop soup out of. But being the channel of cheap and accessible, we're going to use a measuring cup. Because it does the same shit. Why buy a $10 ladle if you have a fucking measuring cup, right? So basically just take your fucking awesome measuring cup and then just ladle out yourself some fucking curry, right? Boom! Curry. Splash it on there. That looked terrible. Let's try and make this one a little prettier, huh? Yeah, curry fury. Alright. Boom. See? And the ladle's nice because you can get a good ratio of chunks to your sauce, you know? Everyone likes to talk about their chunky curry and their sauce ratios. You know, those are the sexy words that keep me going. But I'm fucking hungry, so I'm gonna go eat this food. Thank you all for watching. Yeah, stick around. It's good shit. It doesn't look amazing, but it's good. Promise you, it's good. Stir it up. Stir it up. Get that rice in there. Boom. Those are my hands in the way. Gotta switch hands because I'm not right-handed. Boom. And again, nothing crazy. Nothing too hard. I don't even know how long that took. Probably about an hour or so. And you got some curry. It's nice. Try a bite. Yeah, that's it. That's curry. Again, like don't take this to your Thai grandmother and be like, hey grandma, I know how to make curry, and she'll be like, no you don't. And that's okay. That's okay. I like it. I like the curry.
Baby, you're no day. Baby, I'm in no guy. We're gonna shake it through the night. Maybe I'm 19. Maybe we have met when the time's right.